WWE will go in these spurts of caring about tag team wrestling, but they don't really run with it. I think you could say what the Usos did with the tag titles. They had to be champs because of they were in the bloodline and it made sense. And they beat everybody. But they would have I know they could be I think WWE fans think the Usos are great. I think fans that see other tag team wrestling and not just WWE tag team wrestling will tell you the Usos are overrated as a tag team. I've watched some great Uso matches. I've watched some paint-by-number Uso matches. I think they get a little too much crap outside of WWE for fans who are like, oh, I watched this and this and this, and there's nowhere near as good. I also listen, this goes back to when I worked there, listening to crowd reactions and what they react to and what they don't react to. The Uso matches were over. The stuff they did with Kevin and Sammy was great. That was beautiful tag team wrestling. But that was four guys who had done a lot of tag team wrestling. And it main evented WrestleMania. Now, that main event, the Usos against Sammy and Kevin, versus the main event of night one this year when it was Rock and Roman against Seth and Cody, to me, I don't even count that as tag team wrestling. Not in the traditional way. That was about the story leading to the next night. It happened to be a tag match, but I didn't look at it. And it was a brawl, and there was all kinds of chicanery going around. Sammy and Kevin versus the Usos was a proper tag team match and treated as such. And the stuff with New Day and Usos and the Profits and Usos and all that. Proper tag team wrestling. It's just not... It's not a focus. And I know great tag team wrestling is beautiful to watch. I love it. I do wonder, though, because it's not just in WWE right now. I think about AEW, which, for the majority of their run, 5+ years, have featured tag team wrestling. Whether it be the Young Bucks, whether it be FTR. They've featured it. It's been a big deal. Kenny and Hangman were a good tag team. And now the Bucks are tag champs again, and it feels like it's a backdrop to their whole story about being, part of the elite and EVPs. I've brought this match up multiple times. I'll bring it up again. There was a match on Collision about a month ago between FTR and Wheeler and Claudio. Tremendous. Outstanding 30-minute, beautiful tag team wrestling. I loved it. But it doesn't seem like it's the norm anymore in AEW. And I'll get back to this. Just because Swerve and Ospreay tagged against the Gates of Agony right before their pay-per-view match, that was a random main event tag match. That is about putting the two single stars together and getting a championship match, getting a way to, can they coexist? I don't think it's featured. It seems like we're going to get the Acclaimed and the Bucks at some point. Private Party's just kind of there. I know Revival Dax is hurt. He popped back up last week and saved Dynamite Kid Jr. It doesn't feel like it matters as much. The Trios tag titles got stripped the other day, and now they're going to be back on the line against the Patriarchy. I wish there was more done with the Trios tag team titles. Taven and Bennett, having the ROH tag team titles. It doesn't seem like it means that much. It just doesn't feel like across the board, as I'm looking at some title histories here. Like right now, the titles that Gargano and Ciampa have. Before that, so they've had him for 2 weeks. Theory and Waller had him for 90 days. Can't say I remember a lot of those tag team titles, matches. Priest and Finn before that as the undisputed champs. I look at those guys as single stars. Cody and Jay was storyline stuff. Priest and Finn before that, and they beat KO and Sammy. I think you got to go back. KO and Sammy had him for 154 days. Usos before that had him for 622 days. I mean, it feels like it hasn't meant that much in at least a year in terms of the tag team titles, which is a bummer. It is a bummer. Let me go back here. I want to go back to the other set of tag titles because that run with over on Raw. Here we go. So the Raw tag team titles are now Finn and JD. They've had it for 25 days. Awesome Truth was 79. Didn't feel like they did much with them. Judgment Day before that, Cody and Jay. It's and the same thing comes right back to the Usos. Remember when RK Bro had him? There was that time when it was like RK Bro, Alpha, Profits. It seems like there's been times where you look at all these tag teams. Oh, they got the Creeds. Oh, they got DIY. Here's Awesome Truth. Here's Judgment. It seems like that. But they don't get featured. And I wonder on both sides, is that just a matter of going, this is not drawing, we're not going to put effort into it. Or we don't think it draws, we're not going to put effort into it. I think I told this story recently. I heard from somebody on Creative a couple years ago. And a student of the game. And he told me, he said, the reason tag teams don't get featured is because you got to book 4 guys or 4 women instead of 2. It means you got to pay 2 extra people. You got to pay 2 extra people to fly. You got to pay 2 extra people to work. Now, if it's a draw and it's making you money, you go do it. Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys, Hardys, that stuff was big time shit. It made money. It drew. But there's a bunch of stuff after that. It didn't go anywhere. And it wasn't featured, and it wasn't over in the way it should be. You can go back to the SmackDown 6 days and how Heyman rotated with the Guerreros and Kurt and Benoit and, Ray and Edge. That whole thing. A lot of good stuff in there, wrestling-wise. But it doesn't feel like tag team wrestling matters that much, which is why I'm a little surprised that the Machine Guns, are going to go to WWE. Hey, this is Matt Camp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody under the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did, just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette.
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.